This is J. Krishnamurti's fourth discussion with students in Paris, 1969.
What shall we talk about? What shall we discuss?
Vous dites que le plaisir et la peine sont les deux aspects d'un même phénomène. Est-ce que vous pourriez développer cette idée?
You said that pleasure and pain are two sides of the same coin. Would you please go into it? Shall we discuss that?
Monsieur, j'ai suivi vos causeries très attentivement et je me permettrai à cet effet de vous poser quelques questions. Premièrement, croyez-vous que votre expérience vécue, et je suis sûr que vous êtes sincère, puisse être comprise de nous et que la communion s'avère possible entre vous et nous? Vous n'ignorez pas à quel point notre vie est conditionnante et à quel point la société fait de nous des automates. Deuxièmement, pourquoi votre aventure spirituelle, votre exploration de la psyché humaine, reste-t-elle si intellectuelle? Car beaucoup de gens vous comprennent intellectuellement, mais personne n'est malheureusement transformé. Troisièmement, pourquoi nous parlez-vous de silence, d'amour, de paix, de toutes ces choses que nous ignorons et qui ne font que créer d'autres écrans conditionnants? Enfin, ne croyez-vous pas que l'essentiel, c'est de faire de nous des hommes libres, affranchis de toute autorité, y compris de la vôtre?
Now, which questions shall I ask of those? What's the first question, sir? May I ask? Now, before we ask that question, shall we talk about this point, pleasure and pain? Or do you want to talk about the other? More fun, I suppose. What shall we do?
L'autre, je préfère le second.
The second, allez, allez-y. So, just a minute, first.
You said that to be factual demands for tremendous energy.
May I first answer this, sir? Yes. Right. What is the question, sir?
Croyez-vous que votre expérience vécue, car je suis sûr que vous êtes sincère, puisse être comprise de nous et que la communion s'avère possible entre vous et nous?
How can I assure you or not assure you that the experience that one has had or the state one has had is sincere, right?
He's asking, sir, can we understand this at all?
Can we understand
is there
it all?
any communion between us? Because
Yes, quite.
we can't reach it.
Yes. Is there any communion between us that, because we can't reach it, and is it sincere? Is it true?
Now we think it's sincere. He says, we're sure it's sincere.
Then what am
but
I
we
to do?
can't understand it.
What's the point of bringing it in?
He says, is there any way in which we can understand
Yes, that's it. What's the point of bringing it in?
Il est efficace.
Huh?
Il est efficace.
Yes, that is it efficace. Yes. So what? How does one answer this question? So what is the point of any form of communication? Anything. You tell me that you have seen a beautiful cloud. I haven't seen it. Mustn't you tell me? That you saw a beautiful cloud? Though I can't appreciate it, I can't see it, I don't enjoy it, mustn't you tell me about it? Is it valueless? And you also say, sir, the whole thing is very intellectual. And you say the first thing is to help a human being to be free. Isn't it?
Shouldn't we be free of all authority, even yours?
Yeah, but haven't I said all along, no, don't accept even my authority? Dozens of times, hundreds of times. In every talk practically or discussion, I said, for goodness sake, let us talk freely. No authority. I am not a specialist. Let's talk as two human beings, friends, discussing a tremendously serious problem. In that there is no question of authority or superiority. Nor is it an intellectual affair. So can we go back to that question of his? Pleasure and pain? I have not answered your question, sir. Have I or not?
I don't think you've answered the first question, unless I didn't understand it. I mean, if he says, to use your analogy, it would be like, what's the point of telling a blind person about a cloud? See, if he can't see it.
No, he didn't say a blind person.
No, I know. But he says, what's the point of telling us if we can appreciate what you're saying about this?
Then what's the point of any communication? You see something across the river, and I don't see it. I'm not blind. And you say, look, but mustn't you tell me to look? And perhaps I will look. I will see perhaps more than you see or less than you see. But all the same, I will look. You, by that, you don't become the authority.
Mais avec le type de rapport que vous souhaitez entre nous, êtes-vous sûr que l'on peut voir?
Si, je crois. I think you can see. Comment, madame? No, you see, that just it. This doesn't, to see doesn't require an effort. And no, to see those flowers doesn't require an effort. And to see it, you must have a fairly quiet mind. Right? That's all. And to see ourselves and the society, the morality of society and our morality, we must look. That doesn't require effort. But if you are not interested in it, and to try to look at it, that requires effort.
Notre état présent est de ne pas voir. Vous nous demandez de voir. Est-ce qu'il n'y a pas là un véritable paradoxe? On ne peut pas...
Mais comment voulez-vous que je fasse? So what shall I do? I say look, and you refuse to look. Then where is... I say, all right, I'm sorry, what am I to do?
Est-ce que plutôt que de nous dire, voyez, est-ce qu'il ne s'agit pas d'opérer les yeux?
How can I do it? Then I become the authority. You can't have both, sir. Now, shall we take up that point, pleasure and pain? It's really very interesting if you go into it. What is pleasure? What is pain? What is love? Shall we really discuss it thoroughly, au fond, deeply? Right. What is pleasure? What to you is pleasure? To see a flower, to see a cloud, to see a girl, sex, to be praised, flattered, to feel superior, to feel that you have achieved your métier, and so on. Pleasure is that, which is some kind of not only sensual pleasure of the senses, but also it's much more psychological, isn't it?
Le plaisir est avant tout une sensation agréable qui nous procure une certaine sécurité intérieure.
Yes, sir, that's it. Agreeable sensations. And if security can give that agreeable sensation, you will hold on to it. Sex gives pleasure, and you keep at it. You want it. And with that pleasure goes also pain, doesn't it? No? Can you separate the two and keep them completely apart? What do you say, sir? I'll only have pleasure and no pain at any time. That's what we want. And can that be maintained? And our relationship with others is based on that principle of pleasure. I like you and I dislike another. You are my friend and he is not my friend. The friend may have caused me discomfort, questioned me, distrusted me, talked against me. So can we keep the pleasure principle and the pain separate? Or they always go together? Is this intellectual? Because this is the obvious fact of life, isn't it? I would like to have always pleasure and no pain at any time. Right? Can that happen? I like to always have friends who never question, doubt, ask, disbelieve what I say. And when they disbelieve, I get hurt. I distrust. So can the two things kept apart? Beg your pardon?
You can have complete pleasure if you raise the will outside. Don't take any.
If you completely isolate yourself from the world, you may be able to have pleasure and nothing else.
Can you separate yourself from the world, isolate yourself from the world, live in a cave? Come on, Vera? But do you? I mean, after all, what some people do have nothing to do. I mean, therefore, that means retiring from the world, withdrawing from the world. Isolating yourself in your own imagination of what pleasure is. I mean, there are a great many neurotic people like that. Hospitals are full of them. So, as a human being, you and I, not the monk outside there in the Himalayas or in some cave, can we keep the two apart? If we cannot, and it cannot be, then what shall we do? That's the question, isn't it? Right, sir? No? I want pleasure and I don't want pain. The more I ask for pleasure, the greater the pain. No? So what shall I do? I want pleasure and I don't want pain. I resist pain and invite pleasure. Now, how shall I meet these two? The pain and the pleasure principle. Comment? Yes, it's not a question of pleasure but desire. Now, what is desire? Go on, sirs. What is desire? They're looking for pleasure. No. Desire, by itself I'm talking, not what desire does, what it wants. What is desire? Huh? No, sir, how does desire come into being? No, before you, wait, sir, examine it a little bit. How?
C'est une réaction.
Now, how does this reaction come? Watch it, sir, it's so simple.
Lack of pleasure.
No, sir.
You see something, you want it.
No, look at it, sir. I see this, there is this beautiful carpet. If it's beautiful, I'm saying, let's call it beautiful. And there is perception, right? The seeing of it, the touching of it, the sensation, right? And the desire to own. No? Right? The seeing, the contact, the sensation, and the desire. Right? I see a beautiful car, or a beautiful woman, or a beautiful furniture, sensation, desire.
Desire, we want to keep the pleasure forever.
Yeah. So we are discussing desire, how it comes. Right? I see how it comes. Now watch it. Now what happens?
Quelle est cause de ce désir, justement.
No, what happens then? I see a beautiful car. Sensation, desire. Then thought comes and says, I wish I could own it. No? I wish I could have that chair. No? So, when thought takes over desire, right, then it becomes pleasure or pain. No?
What do you mean by takes over?
What do you mean by takeover? I can look at one can see the car and say how beautiful it is and leave it there. But thought says, no, I like to have it. Right? Their thought sustains the desire, gives desire a continuity. Right? Right, sir?
There is not only the desire to get something, there is the desire to get away from something.
It's the same thing, sir. Same thing. They get away from something is pain. Desire for something is pleasure. Right? Can we go on from there? No, please be quite sure. Don't move away from that if we're not sure.
Sometimes desire is an absence of something, one not focused on a specific object which is wanted, but a feeling of something that isn't there without being.
Of course,
sure.
I've had something very pleasurable yesterday. It isn't there, and I want it.
Yes, in that case you would know what it was. In
Yes,
that
of
case,
course.
You might not be sure. But still.
But is this clear? Desire, how desire arises. Contact, perception, seeing, touching, sensation. Then thought says, I wish I had it, or I wish it didn't happen to me. So thought begins. The pleasure and the pain, right? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. You understand, sir? We're just examining. I'm not your authority. Because I'm gone a couple of days. Even if I'm here, I'm not your authority anyhow. So that's the fact. And then, what am I to do? Thought is doing this all the time, right? Encouraged by society, the environment in which I live, through magazines, posters, propaganda, the priest, is doing that all the time. Thought is being influenced. And also, thought says, I wish I had more of that pleasure. I want to become the chief minister. The same principle, you follow? I and the society, encouraging each other. Right? So what shall I do? How shall I deal with this thing? How shall the mind tackle this thing? Must I live always in this duality, right? Pleasure and pain. Battle, you follow? And that's what's called living. And is it possible to live differently and yet not smother pleasure? I don't know if... Not destroy pleasure. Like the priests say, I must have no pleasure. Therefore, I won't look at a woman, I won't have sex, I won't look at beautiful pictures, I won't look at the mountains, I'll keep my eyes on Jesus and the book. Huh? I know. Is it possible to choose pain or pleasure?
No, I mean, is it possible to choose follow this thought? Or not? C'est possible de suivre ou de refuser de penser, essayer d'arrêter la pensée.
Ah! It's look what you're asking. First, let us see the exact state: pleasure, desire, thought, pleasure, pain. And thought is always demanding pleasure, and yet is creating pain. Right? I think, there is the thought of sexual pleasure, thinking about it, demanding it, and being frustrated, and then anger, jealousy, which is the pain. Right? So how shall the human life be spent in these opposites? What will you do? That's your problem now. That's the problem. Now, how will you deal with it? What will you do? There is no, please, let's play this. There is nobody to tell you what to do. Right? No specialist, no authority, no gurus, nobody. How will you answer this question? How will you go beyond it?
Je me demande si le fait de suivre le processus d'un désir en général fera qu'on sera face à un désir particulier, on pourra l'aborder et le négocier avec justesse.
That means what?
Parler en général est peut-être d'aucune espèce d'utilité.
Aucune espèce de?
Le désir de Krishnamurti, par exemple.
No, sir. No, I'm not talking of that. I'm saying, how will you solve this question? Pleasure and pain. It's your baby. It's left in your hands. How will you solve it? It has nothing to do with me. It's yours. How will you solve this?
Est-ce que entre le moment où le désir naît et l'obtention du plaisir qui est visé, il n'y a pas justement désir parce qu'il y a un décalage dans le temps ou un obstacle à ce désir?
Sir, you're not observing in yourself, if I may point out. Watch it in yourself, sir. There is this principle going on inside the pleasure and the pain. How will you deal with this?
Being attentive.
Huh?
Being attentive and just
Attentive to what?
to what's around you, like that you don't go farther than what you have. And you take what you have.
I think either you can say yes to pleasure and be ready to pay the price of paying for it, or you try to renounce to both of them.
How can you renounce both of them?
Or
All that's an intellectual conception. Huh?
I think you can. You can say, I would like to have peace, and I know that if you have peace, you don't have to look for desire, for pleasure.
Therefore, you won't look at a tree. You won't look at the moon and the first, slip of the moon.
You can look at the moon without desiring it.
That's fairly easy, madam. The moon is very far away. But I see something very nice in front of me and I want it. No, you're not facing this thing.
On ne peut pas abandonner le désir, de toute façon.
You have to ask yourself, why does the pain arise?
Oh, that we said that. How pain arises is fairly clear. Thought. Thought thinks about something which has given pleasure and goes on thinking about it and sustains the pleasure. Right? Thought thinking of some danger you have had, thinks about it, fear comes into it. So it's clear. What will you do, sirs?
Not think about it.
Huh?
Not think about it.
Then how will you stop thinking? You see, you're just speculating. You don't feel it, you have to solve it, you see. You're playing with words. I don't want to live between hate and love, right? Hate being pain, and love, so-called love, being pleasure. I don't want to live battling between these two for the rest of my life. So I must find some means of understanding this whole thing. What shall I do? Come on, sirs, let's discuss it.
Le fait de comprendre déjà ce mouvement de grande peine et de grande tristesse obligatoire, ils vont ensemble, c'est la même chose. Est-ce que ça ne peut pas aider à oublier cette...
Who is saying all this? Who is saying all this?
Quand on vit, on se rend compte qu'on est heureux, malheureux.
But so...
C'est une illusion souvent, on a l'impression de...
Yes, sir, but who is saying it is an illusion?
J'ouvre un livre de Krishnamurti qui concerne cela, et je révise ma leçon.
But you read something, you mean to say that stops you, that helps you to understand this whole thing deeply and are free of this principle of pain and pain? No, you don't get this. All right, so let's go into it. May we go into it? Huh? Let's go into yes, sir.
So pleasure has a special sensation, and I don't know how to know. Feeling this and seeing that it's brought me pain so many times, it wakes me up in a way. I'm aware of it when I feel it. When I'm aware that I feel it.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Don't you feel the same when you are aware of pain?
Yes.
Then what?
So,
don't be aware of it?
No, it wakes me. I don't know how to put it. It wakes you up. This feeling.
I don't quite understand this, sir. Sorry.
I really don't know how to make it. It wakes you up. This feeling, this sensation of pleasure or pain. And you look at it. You're aware of it.
Yes.
It's neither pleasure nor pain.
This is saying so when you're aware of pleasure, it's no longer pleasure, there is no longer pain. Because
you are saying, are you, sir, to be aware at the moment of pleasure and pain?
Yes.
Huh?
Not by intention.
Yes, to be aware of it.
Yes.
Neither discarding it, nor rejecting it,
Yes.
nor resisting it, nor inviting it. Just to be aware, right? Have you done it?
It happens.
Yeah. I'm not being cynical, sir, please. I'm just saying, have you done it? If you have, then you know what it means to be aware. That is, to be aware without censor, without judgment, without choice. Right? Huh? That is, to look without any choice. Right? Which means what?
Looking at this as a fact.
Huh?
Looking at it as a fact.
As a fact. Yes. No, then what happens? Go on, you see.
On crée une distance entre le désir lui-même qu'on observe comme objet et soi-même.
So look, I have pleasure and pain. I have learnt now the trick of being aware. Right? A trick. So, I know now what to do.
Sir, once you become aware that there is pleasure and pain, you just live with this awareness. And so you are quite conscious that when pain or pleasure comes, you're just aware of them and you don't do nothing about them. You just understand them and you don't go into them without knowing what you're doing.
Sir, he said just now, sir, please. He said, if you are aware, another thing happens, right?
You are not for nor against.
Yes. Now you have told me that. I've learned a trick, right? Next time I have a pleasure, I know it's going to bring pain, therefore I'm going to be aware. Huh? Look what has happened to me, what's happened to the mind. You following what I'm saying?
aware. Yes, therefore I'm aware.
Now, to go into it, sir, you're not following it. I have learned a clever trick of not suffering. Right? And what has happened to me? I am still as stupid as before. Now I have added a new trick. It's like a circus, right? And there I am. Is that what pleasure and pain, is that all that it means? That I've learnt a trick not to suffer. Huh? Are we?
When I say I don't want to live between pleasure and pain, this is already another desire created out of the imagination. That is
Yes, sir.
mind,
Quite right.
where this is not the case. But seeing this, totally seeing this state of mind, this is awareness. I feel somewhat like this. But just to say I don't want to live between pleasure and pain, that's just
No,
not...
I'm just pointing out, sir, the danger of learning a new trick. You follow? That's all. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That I have learned now how to meet pain. I won't go to church. I won't escape. I'll just become aware of it. A fact, and I'm going to become aware. And I'm aware, and it disappears, right? At the end of what? And then what?
But if you are not aware all the time, it's coming back.
So, I have to learn that trick too. So I have to learn how to be aware all the time, so as not to suffer. Which means not to have any pleasure either. Right? I can't put away one without the other. I must put both away. I don't know if you're meeting all this. So what shall I do? I'm not going to learn any tricks, because that is too stupid. I want to find out how to deal with a living thing. I don't know if a living thing. Pleasure is a living thing. Pain is a living thing. And if I've learned some clever way of looking at it, I approach it with a dead mind. Huh? So, I've learned something. For a living thing, I must also be alive to look at it, not learn a dead trick. Right? Now, how shall I meet this thing, pleasure and pain? Not through trick, right? So I have to learn about it, because I have to learn about a living thing, not a dead thing. So, can the mind learn about a living thing? And it can only learn about a living thing if it is not dead. Right? Are you following? So, when there is a conclusion that I must be aware, then it is dead. Huh? Any form of conclusion is to destroy the mind. Right? Then it's not learning. So I watch I see the truth of that. I say, by Joe, any form of conclusion dulls the mind. Have I conclusions? I don't know if you're... Have I conclusions? I have, and I say, I must be aware. So I'm watching. Have I any conclusions? Any beliefs, which are all conclusions? Any conceptual ideology? So what has happened? Look, watch it, sir. Look. Desire, pain and pleasure. Then somebody said, be aware of it, old boy, you'll stop it. And I nearly swallowed that hook. You follow? And I said, but you see the danger of that? So, and I see, for a living thing, I must have a very active mind, not a dull mind, not a dull feeling, or a habitual feeling. And have I habitual feelings? You follow how step by step I've gone to find out that I have got habitual, traditional feelings, which dull the mind. Therefore, I don't understand pleasure and pain. I don't wonder if you understand all this. So now I'm going to learn about myself. I'm not concerned about pleasure and pain. You understand now? I'm concerned to see if there is any part of this whole being, which is the me, is dead, dull, stupid, not alive, has come to conclusions and remains with those conclusions. So I am learning about myself now. I don't know if you desire, pleasure, pain, the trick of awareness, how the mind nearly caught in it. And therefore, through all that, I have learned that I must look at myself to see if there is any part of me that is dead.
Isn't that another trick?
Huh?
Isn't that another trick?
Is it? Learning. Learning isn't a trick. I am learning as I go along. trick is something which I accept, a formula, and apply that formula in order to get rid of something. So here, this is not a trick because I'm learning. I'm learning about myself, upon which so many tricks have been played. Right, sir?
On a peut-être peur de s'observer, de s'étudier.
Soi-même.
Soi-même, de peur de trouver entièrement mort.
Wait. So I want to learn about myself. Am I frightened to learn about myself? To see what I am? Am I frightened? Why am I frightened? Watch it, sir. Why am I frightened? Because I have a conclusion about myself. I don't know if you follow this. I am frightened to see myself as I am because I have come to a conclusion I am a marvelous man, or I am a very ugly man. So the conclusion, the ideal, breeds fear, not the fact. I don't know if you're meeting all this. Right? So, I'm learning about myself. Not adding more conclusions. So I've learned something, which is, I am afraid because I have an image about myself. Now, why have I an image about myself? Haven't you an image about yourself? Why? Comment? So you blame the image on the society? Huh? Is it? Or am I also building an image about myself all the time? Society says you must be a great success. And also, to be successful gives me great pleasure. So it's a combination of both. No? So I'm building an image about myself all the time based on pleasure and pain. I don't know if you're following all this. Right? No? So I've come back. I've started in examining pleasure and pain, and I've found myself that all my life is based on this principle. Right, sir? So where am I now? I only want pleasure and avoid pain. I study myself in order to attain greater pleasure. No? Which is called enlightenment, God, all the rest of it. So, may I go a little further? Now I see that anything I attempt to learn about something must be either to resist it or to derive pleasure. Right? So, What is there to learn? What is learning then? If my whole structure is based on this principle of pleasure and pain, past, present and the future, what is there to learn? I don't think you're meeting this. I've learned everything about myself. No? Right, sir? I don't mean. No, are you meeting?
Vous voulez dire par le fait de comprendre les images que nous bâtissons constamment, c'est apprendre.
Yes. So look, we started with pleasure and pain, desire, thought, learning a formula which will stop. Then I'm frightened to look at myself because I have an image about myself. The image says, don't look because you may find ugly things in you. And so be afraid of it. So don't look. The not looking is dictated by pleasure, not by fear.
Pour ça, il ne faut pas avoir le désir d'apprendre, il faut se surprendre.
No, sir, just follow it, sir. If you have followed this inwardly, you will see it. So I started out with pain and pleasure, and I find I'm learning about myself, right? And what is there to learn about myself? I've learned. There's been a tremendous learning, which is the mind very subtly wants pleasure and wanting to avoid pain in different forms, in different circumstances, different ambiance and so on. That's what it wants. Superior, inferior, God, hell. And I say, by Jove, I will observe only, not learn. I don't.
And I learned everything about myself when I've seen that there's pleasure. That pleasure and pain is the structure of the course.
Yes, sir. You can add more details to it.
Doesn't that rather
simplify it? No, I simplified it because, of course, because I can't go too much into it. But I'm showing you something else, which is learning in order to have pleasure and avoid pain, which is what we are doing all the time. And that's not learning.
So you say observe.
Observe.
And who is the observer?
That just it. Wait, go into it a little bit. Who is the observer?
It's the me.
Who is the me?
the one seeking pleasure?
Who is the me?
My thought.
My thoughts?
My memory.
Yes.
Image.
Huh?
Image.
Image. Thought, which is memory. Image, which is memory. The me is a bundle of memories. Huh? Right? Memories are dead things. So the me is a dead thing. No? So the me is looking at everything alive. I look at you who's alive. Or the flowers with a dead me inside looking. No? I love you. Look at it, what has taken place there. The me says, I love you. The me with all the memories. The me with all its thoughts which are dead. And love is a living thing. Right? Otherwise, love is not a memory. I don't know if you're following on. So when I say I love you, a dead thing is saying to a living thing. And can a dead thing speak to a living thing? No, you know. So can the mind and the heart look not with dead conclusions, memories, ideas, images, but look with something which is living, which is love? No? I don't agree, sir. This is real meditation, Can it look at life, at my wife, husband, the neighbor, the world, with those eyes?
I think it doesn't look then.
Huh?
It participates, doesn't look,
Come on.
doesn't observe.
Then it's not looking, it's
Yes.
participating.
Yeah. Then it is something else is taking place. If I look at you with my image about you, I am not looking at you. Right? My image about you is looking. Look at it, sir. The strange phenomenon is going on. I have not only an image of you, but I have an image about myself. So there are two images in me. And many more, but for the moment two. The you and the me. So I'm looking with two images at you. Huh? And this looking is called relationship. Right? When I say I love you, it means that. My image about myself and the image which I have built about you. And the images are obviously dead. Adding to it or subtract, but they're dead. So can the mind and the heart look without without being dead? And then possibly only one can say, I love you. Now, I've learned, not just speculated, by investigating, looking, desires, all that, I've learned something enormous. I've learned, the mind has learned to put away everything dead. Which means traditional image, follow, wipe it clean.
Ce que je voudrais comprendre, c'est pourquoi je construis ces images. C'est ça.
Pourquoi on construit ces images? Why does one build these images? It's fairly simple too. I come to you and say, oh, how very intelligent you are. Look, immediately you have built an image about it, haven't you? You like being flattered, and you have an image. You are my friend. I say to you, I won't, not to you, sir, I say you're somebody stupid. At that moment, you have created an image. But if you are really attentive at that moment, you won't have an image. I wonder if you see. So the mind Is all through. When the mind is attentive, there is freedom. When the mind is inattentive, then there is image. So you follow? Then you will say, how am I to be attentive all the time? Right? Right?
La question essentielle, c'est bien de voir, c'est ça.
Are you asking that question? Aren't you very greedy? When you say, how can I be attentive all the time, aren't you being greedy? And why are you asking it? Look, watch it, sir. Why are you asking it?
Because you expect pleasure.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So, one spends most of one's life inattentive, right? And occasionally attention. And I said, by Jove, if I could move this inattention to attention, everything will be all right. Right? Now, can that be done? Can inattention become attentive? You're following? It can't. You understand? The two are entirely two different states. One is asleep, the other is awake. How can the sleepy state become the other? It can't. Right? I don't know. So what is to be done? Let there be attention in the sleepy state. Let me be aware, attentive that I am asleep. Right? Then I am attentive. I don't know if you meet it. So I have learned a great deal by one question, pleasure and pain. Mind has learned tremendous lot, which is enlightenment. To see things very clearly with light is enlightenment. But we won't go into that. That's being in quite a different problem.
What problem does that bring?
What problem does enlightenment bring? Enlightenment doesn't bring.
Now, the question of enlightenment.
The question of enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Right? Huh?
I think he wants the word illumination.
You read books in Hindu religion? Huh? Oh my Lord. I haven't read them, so I'm at a loss. You know, what is enlightenment? What does it mean? To be light to oneself. Light. Huh? And that light cannot be lit by another. Right? Now do see this up, please. So no authority. Nobody can light the light. Which in that light everything is seen very clearly. There is no illusion, there is no darkness, there is no shadow, there is no wish, there is no image. That's what it means to be enlightened human being. So, can the mind be free of all authority? All authority, not one particular authority of the police, but all authority inwardly of every kind, which means also the authority of knowledge, the authority of memory, the authority of experience. You follow? So the problem is tremendous. You know. Come on.
He says, how can one escape the authority of oneself?
How can one escape from the authority of oneself? The authority of oneself is knowledge, experience. Isn't it? I have experienced what? Joy. That's the authority. Look what has happened. I have experienced joy, which is in the past. The past then becomes the authority. You don't say, in the state of experiencing, I've experienced. I don't know if you're following on. Are we meeting each other? While we are looking at the sunset, the beauty of it, the color of it, the joy of it, in that moment you say, I'm experiencing great delight. You don't say that. You only say it when it is over and when you remembered it, and then tell somebody. So the authority of one's own experience is the dead authority of yesterday, therefore valueless. Are you right? So to have no authority means to be free from yesterday. Knowledge, experience. So unless you go into this very, very deeply, this is all just words. Isn't that enough?
So we came to the point where we saw that if you're learning the motive, then that's not learning at all. And then you spoke about love, and we spoke about other things. Could we go back to that point and try to go on?
Which one, sir?
The fact that if you're learning with the motive, then you're not really learning at all.
So there are two different kinds of learning, aren't there? The learning of a language, a technique, there is certain motive. I want to learn a technique in order to earn a livelihood, money, a job, right? In learning about myself, why should I have a motive? That's it. Why should I have a motive? If I have a motive, that motive is based on pleasure and pain. However subtle. So, moment I have pleasure and pain as the motive, I'm not learning. Is that then what's the other side? Love?
He said that instead of the motive, there could be something else, which is love, which makes it possible to learn.
So, don't let's use the word learn. Then we have to go into this question of what love is. Right? Is love pleasure? Is love desire? Is love jealousy? Is love ambition? Competition? Hatred? Nationality? Can a mind that is nationalistic, class-minded, that is acquisitive, possessive. You follow all this? Can such a mind love? Or the heart love? And we are all that. So is it possible for the mind not to have measure at all? Because I measure myself, compare myself with you, who are clever, who are loving, kind, noble, etc., etc., etc. And I say, by Joe, I wish I could be like that. Which is part of envy. So can the mind be free of all measurement, comparison? So I can go into all this, you see. Unless you do it, it's no fun at all.
Croyez-vous qu'il est possible de parler de l'amour, justement?
De?
Croyez-vous qu'il est possible de parler de l'amour?
Non.
C'est bien sûr.
On peut nier ce qui n'est pas. I mean, what is not, hate is not love. Right? Now, and we do hate. We do create enmity. We do. So can the mind never have hate at all? So I've forgotten question of love. I'm now interested to see if the mind can be free of hate, anger, jealousy, competition. You follow? When this thing is not, the other is. Through negation, the positive is. But not in the pursuit of the positive, it doesn't come. Right? So we better stop.
Yes.
I'm sorry, we have to stop because I have to go.